He lives in Boston, so.
Oh, okay. Hi, folks. Welcome to Soapbox. My name is Mauro DiPasquale. Soapbox is produced right here at WCCA TV 13, the People's Channel. I'm glad you're joining us. You have many channels to pick from, and you're choosing WCCA TV 13, the People's Channel. We're Worcester's community public access television station, and we're the only place in town where you can create your very own TV show and share it with anyone in the community. And we're streaming online here at WCCATV.com. And when I say we're the only place, because we're providing training for you, where we teach you how to use the equipment we have. We train you on use of our studio facilities, our edit suites, and all the technology we have here, whether it's in studio or in field or on location shooting. We have that. We also conduct youth media programs year-round, after-school programs, and also during the summer where young people can create their very own TV shows as well. So you may say, well, yeah, I can do that on YouTube too. Yeah, but you may not have access to a full studio, a multi-camera studio, and all the lighting and green screen effects and full edit suites, Adobe Premiere edit suites and all that. So that's what we do here. We try to really encourage you to participate here at WCCA TV and to empower you to learn, create, and connect. And it's also a vehicle for various groups and individuals and nonprofits and events to use to outreach and connect as well. And we're glad to be able to provide whatever service we can. So WCCA TV, Worcester Community Cable Access Incorporated, we're a charitable nonprofit organization, and we welcome you to our channel and to the station. Without further ado, I mentioned some of the technology that's involved here at the station. We do have computers. We have a computer lab out front. We have, everything's digital, so everything is done basically through computers. We have editing software and different tools, and we were one of the first pioneers to use some of the open source editing systems that are out there, softwares that are out there, and not always the easiest stuff to use, but we're going to talk a little bit about that. But we do have open source software available on some of our edit suites, like OpenOffice, and you can learn a little bit about that kind of stuff today. And more importantly, we're going to learn about a whole different type of operating system that you may not know about, Linux. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Jonathan Nadeau, who's here. I pronounced that right?
Yes,
Jonathan?
yes, you
Good
did.
to see you. I'm going to shake your hand here.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. Jonathan, where are you from? You from around here?
I grew up in Putnam, Connecticut
yeah.
For most of my life, but I currently live in Douglas now.
You live in Douglas?
Yeah.
So you're not too far from us.
No.
From us right here, and you participate. You're here really to let people know about the Northeast Linux Fest.
Yes.
And that's exciting. We're excited about that too, and we're happy to help promote it.
Thank you.
But you're here, and I wanted to talk a little bit about you first, and talk about your family life, your background, and you're blind.
Yes.
So we could talk about that too. So tell us a little bit about your past, your family life and stuff.
Well, I wasn't born blind. I got in a car accident at the age of 14, which led me to lose my sight in that car accident, and my life drastically changed that day. And I started taking a different path that day after the accident. I had a normal life like every other kid. I lost my sight at the age of 14, like I said. Then at the age of 15, my father had passed away, and at the age of 18, my mother had passed away. So I'd been blind for 4 years and living on my own at the age of 18. And I ended up meeting my wife shortly after that. We got married, and we have 3 awesome kids, and I have a lovely wife. And I currently am a student at Worcester State University, and hopefully I'll be graduating in the fall semester coming up. And I guess that's about it. A quick overview of my life.
Yeah. Well, It's quite a story. You were how old? 14 when you?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's some scarring on your face there
Yeah.
from the accident. Evidently, were you driving or?
No,
were you
no, I was in the
of course
back
you're 14,
passenger.
yeah.
I was in the back passenger seat, and
Yeah.
I got ejected out of the back windshield, and that's where some of the damage came from. But the majority of it came from when I basically hit my head against the telephone pole after I got ejected out of the car.
Jeez.
So I should not be here right now. So the only thing I lost was my sight, and I should have lost my life. So
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, God, thankfully you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it must have been quite a struggle. I mean, and then one hardship after another. Then you lost your parents.
Yeah.
Shortly after that.
Yeah.
Was there what kind of support did you have? It must have been, you must have had to go through some training and support needed to in your recovery.
Oh, yeah, after my car accident?
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked with, I was in Connecticut at the time, so it's called the Board of Education and Services for the Blind, and they help, they send people to your house, and I started to learn how to read Braille, and they would show me how to do, like, various things around the house, like mark the washing machine so I knew where to put the dial, or, like, put stuff on the microwave so I knew where the buttons were and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I got help going through. I was a freshman in high school when I got in the accident, and so they helped me, with getting my school situated to handle me taking classes at Putnam High School.
Yeah.
So I did various things like that.
Yeah. How old are you now? Can I ask?
I'm 33.
33. Yeah.
Yep.
How'd you meet your wife?
I was in a band, and we were playing at a place, and I ended up meeting her through that.
Yeah. What do you play?
I play guitar and I sing, but I haven't played in like quite a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Life gets busy.
You
life
got busy. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do most of your time now?
Well, I'm a full-time student at Worcester State University, and I'm also an advocate of free software and accessibility, which we'll talk about the Linux Fest.
Yeah.
And so that's basically what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. So, what do you consider some of your triumphs and accomplishments? I bet I would probably say something different than you, but I'm interested to see what you would say. What would you consider some of your triumphs and accomplishments, best moments to date?
I guess that's hard to say. I guess the most important thing is my wife and my family. That's the thing I'm proudest about. Outside of that, I would say I guess I haven't really accomplished anything yet as far as I feel. But my wife and my kids are the most important thing to me, so I'd say that was a great accomplishment.
Yeah, it is, certainly. And again, how many children?
I have 3. The oldest
kids?
is 9, and the middle, my daughter is almost 4, and then my youngest son is 2.
So you got 2 boys and a girl?
Yeah, girl's in the middle.
And a 2-year-old, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, so you got your hands full.
Oh, yeah.
Terrible 2s?
No, he's a good kid.
He's a good kid?
Yeah.
So are they now, you must spend a lot of times with computers and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You're into it, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, is that something that you found yourself, getting into early? Were you prior to the car accident?
Yeah, before I was in the car accident, my parents bought me a Commodore 64. This is around like 1985.
Oh, wow.
I was like in 4th grade, I think, when I got that computer, and I played with that for quite a few years. And around 8th grade, 9th grade, I started kind of getting out of computers. I was heavily into sports at that time. I played like football, basketball, baseball, and anything I could do to keep myself busy in sports, I did. I took karate. And, when I got in the car accident, like I said, in the blink of an eye, I went from seeing, 20/20 to not seeing anything. I don't see light. I don't see shadows. I don't see anything. And so, when I found out and when I was in the hospital, like, you're not going to see again, I said, well, there goes sports. And for a couple of days, I was just like, what am I going to do with my life? Like, it's drastically changed. And that's when I got into music, and that kept me focused on that for a while. And so for quite a few years, 4 or 5 years, or maybe in 6 years, I did use a computer a little bit in high school, but I wasn't interested in them as much as I am now. And then around 1999, 2000, I started getting back into technology, and that's when I kind of dove headfirst into it.
Yeah. How is it different? I mean, you must really relish the fact that there's this technology that's it works with sound, right?
Yeah. This is like an amazing age. Like, now would kind of be the time to have, I guess, to say like a disability if you were going to have one, because technology is amazing right now. And, I wouldn't have thought about, accessibility and people with disabilities unless I myself had one. I mean, before my accident, I never considered blindness or being deaf or, paraplegic or being stuck in a wheelchair. I never considered those things, but now that I'm in that world, I concentrate on that a lot and focus on that with technology and how to advance technology to help out people with disabilities.
Yeah, so that became important.
Yeah.
How do you feel you adjusted with everything? Did it take a while to adjust and to figure, okay, I can do this, I can get around?
I guess I guess I just had the attitude was, I better get used to it because I'm, there's no point in crying because it's not going to make me see again. So I might as well deal with the hand that was dealt to me and figure out how to work with it,
Yeah, yeah. So now, what do you find the most liberating about computer technology?
Like I said, there's a lot of advancements. There's like screen reader capabilities where I can do basically everything that a sighted person can do, short of maybe like editing a video or something. But I can send emails, I can surf the internet, I can type out documents, I can look at spreadsheets, I've ran my own computer business, so I could place orders to the distribution companies, and so I could do almost anything that even a sighted person can do with a screen reader on a computer. So it's extremely liberating.
So what's a screen reader? What's that? Can you tell?
Basically, what it does is there's mine is like a robotic sounding voice, and you can get other things to make give it like a better sounding voice. But essentially, what I would do is I use the arrow keys and I use the tab key, and I can tab around, and it'll tell me, oh, you're on the menu, and here's Firefox. And then when it tells me I'm on Firefox, I can hit enter, and then it brings me online. Yeah. Or, and I use the arrow keys, it'll read the web pages, and I can tab to links, and it'll tell me, hey, this is a link, and then I can click on it, it'll bring me to other pages within that website and stuff, and I can fill out forms online and all that, download, MP3 files and stuff.
Yeah, so it'll read what's on the form for you, so you can select. Is that how that works?
Yeah, or it'll tell me that, hey, there's a blank space here, you need to fill it out.
Yeah.
So.
And you can have different voices. You can get Christopher Walken's voice if you want.
No, you can't get that. Yeah. Not like the GPS systems.
Yeah, that'll be coming soon.
Yeah, probably.
He'll yell at you. Yeah. No, that one. Pick this one. Oh, that's amazing. So now, Linux. Tell our viewers what's Linux as opposed to other operating systems that they may use.
Sure. Linux is. People do call it like open source software, but I choose to call it free software. There's kind of there is a meaning behind the two words, but we don't need to get into that. But basically, people I'm sure have had the term open source. It's a term thrown around a lot these days online and stuff. And Linux is an open source operating system, and that means that you are free to look at how the operating system is created. So the people that program the operating system, you are available to look exactly how they made it, and if you're capable of doing it or know someone that can, you can make changes to the operating system, and you're free to do that. And not only are you free to make changes, but you're free to download a copy of an operating system, burn it on 100 CDs if you wish, stand out on the corner of a street and hand it out. And that's another one of the liberties that comes with using open source software. Yeah. And like I said, you're able to modify the operating system, and not only the operating system, but even the programs within the operating system, you can modify it, which gives the user a lot of freedom to, instead of conforming to the software, you can make the software conform to you. So if it has a functionality you wish it had, you could give it that functionality, or if it has a functionality you don't want it to have, you can take away that functionality.
Right. Now, if you're using Linux, would you be able to use, say, like a Microsoft document software, add to that, or some other free software, or would you even need to do that?
Well, you mentioned OpenOffice at the beginning, and OpenOffice will open up Microsoft Word documents, and you can even create documents that are saved in the Microsoft Word format. So if you email that document to someone that has Office, they'll be able to open it. So you do have that freedom with OpenOffice. Yeah. But like, say if you wanted to install a Microsoft game in Linux, that's not going to work.
Yeah. Okay. So what would happen in a case like that? You would find a game that's similar to the
exactly.
one.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. We did that. We looked for some open source video editing equipment, but now video editing software rather.
Yeah.
And it was a little not quite yet where we wanted it to be, in terms of user friendly. So sometimes things are not always that easy for someone unless they seem to have a background.
Right.
It's not, but there's also, it's hopeful because things are going to change and things are going to eventually come around all around. But I've also heard that Linux running in the background of things can also be better in some ways in terms of virus.
Oh, yeah.
And spam, getting spammed and all that.
Yeah, I won't say you'll never get a virus, but it's pretty close to as bulletproof as you could be, and it's incredibly stable also. About 70% of the entire servers running the internet across the world are running Linux.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
So
it's very powerful, very stable, and there's a lot of benefits that come with it. And some people might say, well, there's some downs too, but as you mentioned, like if you can't play a certain game, there's always something comparable or close to what you're looking for, within Linux.
Yeah.
So it might take a little bit of homework to find what you're looking for, but it is out there.
Yeah, you do find one point I could think of. My daughter, one of my daughters needed to do a PowerPoint, and she had it. She used the Windows version of it. I think it's called. I forget what it's called. Impress.
Oh yes, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And it's basically just a PowerPoint.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and it does everything the other ones would do. Only it's free.
Exactly. It's not $300 or whatever.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And that's amazing. But some of this free software will work on other operating systems, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Like OpenOffice.
Yeah.
Even Firefox is free software.
Right. So if you have like Windows, you can just download the free software.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us about Linux Fest.
Okay. The Northeast Linux Fest, it's the second annual one we're having this year. It's at Worcester State University on March 17th, which is, like I said earlier, the college I attend, and that's why we're holding it there. And the Linux Fest is basically an opportunity to bring awareness to what free software is and to show the college students, and not only college students, but anyone that wants to attend, what can free software do for me? What can free software do for my business? What can free software do in my school? And we'll show how you can leverage free software in different areas of your life. Businesses these days are trying to cut corners and save money. Well, instead of having to buy 10 new licenses of Windows 7 or Microsoft Office at $300 each, you can download OpenOffice, and then you just saved yourself $5,000 or $10,000.
Right.
So it's things like that we want to bring awareness to for people.
Yeah. And so what are people going to see at the Linux Fest? Is there going to be exhibits and people displaying?
Yeah, we'll have an exhibit hall, and there'll be different Linux. They're called distributions, so they're basically kind of like different Linux operating systems. There'll be 3 or 4 tables of those, and then a couple of more tables of various free software and people talking about what they do with free software. And then there'll also be a speaker track, and we have quite a bit of high-level people speaking at the event. One person is John Mad Dog Hall, who's been involved with Linux ever since basically it started, like the day it started. He's been involved. We also have John Sullivan, who's the executive director of the Free Software Foundation, which that's the movement that started everything that revolves around free software. And there'll also be a campaigns manager, Matt Lee, from the Free Software Foundation talking. And I'll be giving a talk on free software and accessibility, and there's quite a few other people talking also.
Yeah. How did this festival come to be?
Well, I was a computer science major, and the first class I took for my computer science classes, I was the only student running Linux. And Linux is also known for being very popular with computer scientists and programmers, because you can get a lot deeper into the operating system, and you can, like I said before, you can control a lot more of it. And usually programmers excel even more using Linux. And so I introduced Linux to all of my classmates. There's probably 20 kids, and by the end of that semester, I had all of them running Linux, even the kid that had an Apple, switch it over to Linux on his Apple. And I said to myself, if everyone, all these students in the class weren't really aware of Linux, I'd imagine it's the same way in a lot of the other colleges in the area. So I decided to start the Linux Fest to bring awareness to college students, and like I said, the public at large too can come and join the event also.
Yeah, yeah. That's now. What time is the event? We're going to say this a few times, but
okay,
it's Saturday, March 27th.
No, March 17th.
I'm sorry.
No problem.
God. Yeah, Saturday, March 17th.
Yep.
17th, folks. 2012. And what time does it start?
It'll start at 9. That's when the first talk will start, which is John Mad Dog Hall.
Yeah.
And it will be done at 6.
Okay.
And then after that, we'll have an after party at Jillian's on Grove Street from 7 to 10. So there'll be a get-together after that for people to hang out and talk some more.
Oh, that's great. So Saturday, March 17th, 9 to 6 at Worcester State University. And you want to attend that. It's really important. And you can also go to the after party at Jillian's on Grove Street. And there's going to be further discussions and opportunity to talk directly with some of the speakers, too. Now, tell me a little bit about accessibility. You talking about that earlier in the program, too, and that's what you're going to give a talk about.
Yeah.
What about accessibility? Should viewers watching this program, for example, might they want to know?
Sure. The reason why I'm interested in an advocate of free software and accessibility is a lot of people don't realize, like the screen reader that I was talking about, if you use a screen reader on Windows, there's a couple of choices to choose from, but the most popular one is called JAWS, and it's made by a company, Freedom Scientific. Now, if you were to purchase this software, the cheapest one is $1,000, and you can get the pro version for like $1,500. So people that are blind have to figure out a way to, to get $1,000 to $1,500 in order to use their computer. And there's state programs that help blind individuals get this software. They basically buy it for them. But you have to meet certain qualifications and whatnot. If you don't meet those qualifications, then that basically means you are unable to access a computer and access technology. And that's why I'm an advocate of free software, because it equalizes the playing field. Now you don't have to worry about price. And not only do you have to not worry about price, but you also have the freedom of being able to participate in the screen reading software. You can join the mailing list and report problems that you're having, or ask for feature requests, or you might know how to solve a problem that someone else is having, and you can join the community and get involved and actually partake in the accessibility that you're using, unlike JAWS, where you're not really able to communicate with Freedom Scientific. You could email them and say, hey, I'm having a problem with this, and they might say, well, we'll fix that in the next version that you have to pay for.
Yeah,
So it's this whole like catch-22 with, 80% of blind people are unemployed in the country. How are they supposed to afford $1,000 to $1,500? I mean,
yeah, right. Yeah, and you mentioned something about qualifications. What kind of qualifications were they looking at?
You either have to be a full-time student, or you have to have a job that requires you to use a computer. Things like that.
So right there, it's biased right there.
Right. So if you're not a student, and like I said, 80% of blind people are unemployed, then you're not going to meet it. Yeah. So again, those people can't access technology. And then I'm not saying you can become more useful if you can use a computer. Like you'd be able to get a job. But if you try to apply for a job and say, well, I can't use a computer, or if you hire me, you need to go out and spend $1,500 extra just so I can use your computer. Yeah. So it's just a whole bunch of hurdles you need to get over.
So there's basically a crusade is to get everyone on board to become aware. How do they access this? How can they get more involved with free software? You have this free software foundation that you work with.
Yes.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that and what you hope to accomplish while you're there.
Sure. I interned at the Free Software Foundation over the summer, and it was great to work with those people because, like I said, the Free Software Foundation is the place that started the free software movement back in like 1985 or so.
Where is that now?
It's in Boston.
It's in Boston.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I was able to work with them, and I started talking to them about like accessibility and free software and how great it could be, for the accessible technology world. And I interned there for a few months, and it was great working with them. I had a few ideas, and I worked with one particular project leader of a Linux distribution like I talked about. It's called Trisquel. It's Trisquel. And I worked with the project leader, and I spoke with him about accessibility, and I said, it would be great if we could make a Linux distribution that was accessible out of the box for a blind user. And so what he was able to do is he created its distribution to, when you put in the CD and it starts to boot off the CD, it talks right away now. Mm-hmm. And then so a blind person such as myself can completely install the operating system by myself without any sighted help whatsoever.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yes. And so it gives the power to the blind and low vision users to not have to count on their friend to come over or, get some help from a sighted person just to, install the operating system on their computer.
Yeah. Now, if you make a mistake while you're installing it, does it tell you? Does it say, no, this is not going to work?
It would say, hey, you forgot to fill this box in, or, or you would notice, it's not going to the next screen. Why is that? And then you can, arrow or tab through the screen to see what's going on.
Yeah, actually, anybody can benefit from that.
Definitely,
I think that's a great achievement.
Yeah, even the baby boomer generation, like a lot more of those people are starting to lose their vision, and So it's great for everybody. And so interning at the Free Software Foundation, I realized that there was a bigger, thing that I wanted to do. So now I'm in the midst of working with the Free Software Foundation, trying to get a nonprofit organization set up called the Accessible Computing Foundation. And that's where I advocate using free software for accessibility. And so that'll be my next project that I'm working on.
Wow, that's fantastic. Maybe we can work with you on that as a public access TV station.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Yeah, because we got something in common, getting people access to stuff.
Definitely.
Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we'll talk about that after the show.
Okay.
Jonathan, I think this is all great stuff. So who can go to Northeast Linux Fest?
Oh, like I said, anybody. It's a free event. Just show up, come and enjoy. Show up at any time, leave at any time. We'd love to have you come and listen to the talks. Like I said, there's going to be 8 or 9 speakers. There's the exhibit hall. There's a couple of things I forgot to mention. There's also going to be another a workshop going on called OpenStreetMap. And basically what this OpenStreetMap is it allows you to take like your GPS devices or your cell phones or whatever, and you can track, maybe you go on walking trails or you bike certain routes, and you can track your route that you do with your GPS device, and then you can upload it to OpenStreetMap. So it's a community-based project where users from all around the world contribute to the map. And the more users that upload their tracks or what streets they travel on and stuff, the more the map gets filled in. Mm-hmm. So this OpenStreetMap workshop, they're going to show people, how to upload their data or how to implement OpenStreetMap into programs that they're developing and stuff like that.
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
There's also going to be a hackerspace where people take hardware and basically make hardware do what it wasn't intended to do, which is also an interesting concept.
Yeah. Well, if we could find a way to make open source, we use Adobe Premiere Edit Suites here.
Yeah.
If we can make that open source, that'd be fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
It's so expensive.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
and we're
it's not
trying to
cheap.
give people free access to it.
Right.
That's really fantastic, though. So this is Saturday, March 17th. This year at Worcester State University, it's the Northeast Linux Fest. And what room is it going to be in?
It's in the Student Center.
The Student Center.
Yes, and you can also go to northeastlinuxfest.org, and we'd like you to register if you do plan on going, because that way we can kind of get an idea of who's going to show up, who might go to the after party. So if you go to northeastlinuxfest.org, and Linux is spelled Linux.
That's right. So northeastlinuxfest.org. Mm-hmm. Northeast LINUXFEST.org. And again, Saturday, March 17th at Worcester State University Student Center, 9 to 6, with the after party at Jillian's. It's informative education, a lot of fun. I really want to be there. So I know we got people going there.
Yes.
From the station too to cover it a little bit too. So Jonathan, thank you very much.
Thank
Jonathan
you for your
Nadeau
time.
for joining
It's
us.
an honor and pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck to all you do. God bless you. And I want to thank Jonathan for joining us. Northeast Linux Fest. Be there. All right. Until next time, I'm Mauro DiPasquale at WCCA TV 13, the People's Channel. Look forward to seeing you right here at TV 13.